global warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius. The latest Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report has found changes in our diet and travel can help halve the emissions by the end of the decade. Natalie Isaacs is the founder of 1 Million Women. That's a global movement on practical action on climate change, and she joins us now from Sydney. Natalie Isaacs, welcome. Just first of all, tell us about your organisation, what prompted you to set it up and how it's grown.
Yes, so 1 Million Women is a global movement of women and girls, and our focus is that we act on climate change through the way that we live, through the choices we make every single day, through using our voice and our vote and our influence. And I started 1 Million Women back in 2009, and before that I used to be a cosmetics manufacturer. So really my life was so different, and it was all about over-packaging, and I was really disconnected to this issue. But I got the point on climate change when I got our household electricity consumption down by 20, and I saw, when I got that bill and I saw that I had just saved a heap of pollution and a heap of money at the same time, I realised as one person, I was really powerful. And I started 1 Million Women because I wanted to reach other women that were like I was, you know, disengaged for whatever reason, and bring them along this road of empowerment. So that's how it all started.
Great stuff. And so we've got today the release of this Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report with yet another warning about catastrophic consequences if the world doesn't come together and make some serious effort on this front. There have been serious efforts on this front in some countries, but some countries are laggards. What are some practical things that individuals can do who might feel overwhelmed by these stories that we get every now and then, but they want to make a personal change?
And I think it's really important that this is alarming stuff. This is big news that we have to digest as citizens of this planet. But we cannot really allow ourselves to slip into despair, because this is the defining decade for climate action, and it really does need all of us. You know, it needs all of us to do whatever we can wherever we are. And so it is the things that we can do in our own life is really important to this. It's a really big part of the solution. And so we need to look at, we need a total transformation of the way that we live, you know, from the food that we're wasting, which is one really big area that we can literally this second reduce. 10% now, a new report shows that 10% of global emissions actually come from the food that we're wasting. And so that is, on a global level, but that is something that we can all do that's in our control. We can take a breath before we buy something and stop over consuming, because that also puts so much pressure on our planet. We need to embrace renewable energy. Well, like when I started 1 Million Women, I think there was something like, 2,000 households with solar panels, and now there's over 2 million. And so we need to embrace renewable energy wherever we can. And if we can't put solar panels on our roof for whatever reason, and that story has changed immensely over the years and is much more accessible, but we can all be energy efficient. We can all reduce the energy that we use in our house, and that puts money back in our pockets as well. We need to look at where, I'll just keep talking unless you tell me to stop.
Yeah, no, give us some, really keen on getting some practical examples. And you mentioned food waste first off. What about for some people who might be at home watching this and think, well, I actually eat all I consume anyway, so what's she talking about?
Yeah, well, actually, that's fantastic if you are eating, you don't have any food waste, but it is an issue. Like in this country, we waste 1 in 5 shopping bags of food. And so that's like going to the supermarket, wherever we get our groceries, having 5 bags, chucking 1 in the bin before we even make it home. So food waste is an issue. It's something that we really need to think about from the moment we start our journey with food, you know, when we go to the shops and really then manage its leftovers. So for those of us that have already nailed the whole food waste thing, that's fantastic. And for those of us that haven't, it is one of the big things that we can do.
Okay, what about on transport?
Transport. So we need to really think about how we get from A to B with the least impact on the planet. And that means we need to, you know, walk more. We need to use public transport. And I know that this is tricky in a COVID era, but we really need to reduce you know, jumping in the car. And for those of us who can, we need to really look at getting a 100% electric vehicle for our next vehicle purchase, because I've got an electric vehicle, and it is the most empowering thing knowing that my commute to work is done with literally zero tailpipe emissions. The other big thing we need to look at is where we invest our money, our banks and our financial institutions, and where our super is. You know, oh my goodness, there's my alarm to... Sorry.
It's probably someone calling you, telling you what a fantastic job you're doing.
No, it's actually I've got to put money on my electric vehicle, which I did drive to work, but I don't want to get a parking ticket. So, but it is so important. You know, when I started 1 Million Women, I actually thought I was the climate warrior. I thought I'm doing everything, and at the same time, very quietly, my money in my bank and my super fund were investing in the fossil fuel industry. So I was horrified when I found that out. And so it's so important that the bank and the financial institution and the super fund that we have aligns with our values. That is so critical. You know, everything we do, we need to take a breath and look at all the things that we do in our lives and how we live, because every molecule of CO2 that we can prevent from going into the atmosphere matters in this decade.
Okay, Natalie Isaacs, I can feel your passion, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers have felt that as well. And if they want to see more of your story and your organisation, where do they go?
So to 1 Million Women, that's the number 1, millionwomen.com.au, or you can follow us on our Facebook or our Instagram. And in fact, I've got this new book coming out in a couple of months, which is all about this. It's called Right Here, Right Now, and it's what we have to do in this defining decade as humanity.
Okay, Natalie Isaacs, thanks so much for having a chat to us this morning from Sydney.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you.